What's up, everybody? Jaren for it's aka FrizzyVisuals. I'm the creative director of Colorado State Athletics with multiple years of professional sports and photography experience. And today, we just crossed the 10,000 subscriber mark. So this entire video is for you. Every sports creative question you send in on Instagram is right here answered. No gatekeeping, no shortcuts, just real answers as a thank you for helping build this channel. And if you are watching this and you are not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are the fastest growing sports creative channel on all of YouTube. So subscribe now to join the Frizzy Army. Let's get into it. How does it feel being on a private plane with the players? Flying private sounds like a flex, and yeah, it kind of is. The bus pulls right up to the plane, no TSA, no security lines. You step on, they hand you your real name brand snacks, and suddenly travel feels easy. But that is not the real upgrade. The luxury is removing variables when you are moving an entire D1 basketball team. Everything takes longer. Flying private turns 1,000 moving parts into one clean motion. Bus to plane, plane to bus, simple, fast, and easy. What has inspired you the most throughout this journey? Well, everything I have learned at the start of my career came from YouTube, watching creators break down specific skills and explain how they do their jobs. But when I searched for the exact and specific path I wanted, there was a definite market gap. So I started to fill that gap, and now seeing people use my videos the same way I once relied on others is definitely a full circle moment and inspiring to me. This channel is not just content. I hope it can be the bridge I wish I had when I first started out. Also, shout out to the Sideline Bros for that question. Make sure to subscribe to their channel. A lot of you are also asking me how this thing started, how I got the job, how I learned photography, how any of this became real. Well, in college, I was just a kid with a camera. I started a video business shooting music videos for my friends while working with the Division II basketball program that I played for. Then I entered the job market with this strange mix of design and video, two skills that almost never work together. When I landed my first role at the University of Wyoming as the assistant director of graphic design, I made a decision. I was going to turn myself into a complete creative. That meant mastering photography. And I never planned to master photography. I just wanted to be good enough to help while I stayed focused on design. Then I fell in love with it. One skill turned into two, two into three, design, photo, video, the entire backbone of a creative department, and without realizing it, I had built the exact skill set required to lead one. That is why I can oversee multiple creative units today, not because of a title, because I have lived in every lane I now direct. I got these questions from Schmitty and Annie talking about my dream jobs and dream events, but for me, the ultimate dream is working as a team creative at the Final Four. That has always been my favorite sporting event in the world. I was lucky enough to go in 2019 as a fan, so the idea of going back this time on the floor with a team I helped build, telling the story from the inside, that is a pure bucket list. So my dream is not really tied to a specific school or job. It is working for a program actively competing for a national championship. Favorite shoot or game? Well, the best road atmosphere was at Boise State during Neek's Legacy game. It was my first road game documented for the channel and a game that was nationally recognized. The best home atmosphere was CU this year. Packed out arena, great basketball from both teams, and a good old-fashioned court storming. From a photography standpoint, Battle for Atlantis produced my most complete and balanced gallery, so those three experiences definitely stand out to me. Several questions came in about breaking into the NCAA level, the pro level, or even getting media credentials, to which the short answer is it is all based on portfolio. If your portfolio is elite, doors open. So the real question is not where do you apply, it is how do you build a killer portfolio that actually gets you in the room, which I realize can take a while, but my best advice is to work for less visible teams who are hungry for content. Everyone wants to shoot basketball and football, but I worked for a winless D2 volleyball team at the start of my career because there was a lack of coverage, and that meant an opportunity for me. How should I start photography in high school? Start by having fun. Shoot everything, basketball, football, soccer, track, do it all. The best part about shooting in high school is the feedback loop. You post a photo and the players tell you exactly what they like and don't like, and because they are your classmates. So really easy to get good feedback. Just steal a yearbook camera, walk onto the court or field, and start cooking. When it comes to getting your photos noticed or gaining more clientele, my advice is to post consistently, share your work publicly, do not rely on spam tagging players or giveaway gimmicks, experiment with new ideas, prioritize your subjects. Client satisfaction at the end of the day is what drives referrals. If growth stalls, target smaller programs and position yourself as their primary creative. Growing up playing basketball in rural Wyoming, exposure was always the constant concern for people trying to play at the next level in college. And the advice that I was given that still holds true now is that if you are good, they will find you. And that's the same for creatives. Do you have posting access to CSU socials or just send pics and graphics to separate social teams? So my workflow is pretty simple. All of my creative work gets funneled to our social team to then later be distributed. When it comes to Rams Live pages specifically, I'm also one of the primary posters. It is a newer department, so it's all hands on deck. At my previous job in Wyoming, however, I was one of the main posters for our ticketed sports. How do you find time to do your job and post YouTube videos? Now that's $1 million question. On a standard home week, my normal schedule is 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. YouTube work, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. creative director role at CSU, then 7 p.m. to midnight YouTube work again. So I really try to stack my days deep when I am here and not covering events because my schedule shifts so fast. A lot of long nights, but I believe in what we're building, so it's all worth it. What are your top 5 to 10 pictures you've ever taken? Now, this is the most impossible question ever because I shoot so many different events, but a couple that come to mind from this past season is this run out shot from the Battle for Atlantis tournament. Poster dunk from behind is super unique. I love this starburst photo from last football season. The tunnel walkout of Brandon into Utah State is peak. Then these shutter drags from football last season, I really enjoyed doing. I also feel like every season I shoot, I level up tenfold, so those are just some of the recent ones that I love off the top of my head. What are your thoughts on shooting with prime lenses instead of using a 24-70? I prefer fast lenses, so I often end up shooting on primes for their lower apertures. Primes are not practical for everyone. A full breakdown of wide angle options is actually coming very soon, but my personal preference to answer your question is a 35mm prime. Staying on the lens train, if you only had one lens, what would I use? If I only had one lens for sports photography, I would choose the White Mamba 70-200 f2.8. That is definitely the most versatile lens if you only had one option. Any advice on how to not be too trigger happy when shooting a game? Enter every single shoot with a defined shot list. Shoot with intent. High frame counts are typically the result of going in without a plan. And in efforts to help you all out with this, I have a full shot list breakdown for both basketball and football, so make sure to check those out. How to crop basketball when you have people on the edges of a frame. Now, that's kind of an interesting question. Sometimes letting a player live on the edge of a frame actually makes a photo better. That dead space becomes part of the story. So instead of cropping it out, ask yourself if what you're seeing on screen can breathe. Sometimes that negative space is a subject. When it comes to my photo quality, either about being sharp or my specific camera settings to get sharp pictures, I keep ISO low on purpose. The highest I will ever go is around 1600. Most of the time, I'm shooting way under that, and my shutter usually lives around 500 to 800. Denoise is also your best friend. How do you do your black and white style? Well, I already have a full YouTube video on my channel breaking this down step by step, and I'm also dropping a preset pack very, very soon, so if you want to speed up that whole process, definitely stay tuned. How do you export your photos? Well, the biggest export setting I use is 100% quality at 300 dpi every time. That guarantees my photos translate cleanly to large scale prints, that be posters, banners, billboards, whatever they need to become, they are ready to roll. I never want a great image to fail or look pixelated because of just a bad export. Best beginner camera for sports photography. Definitely the Sony a7R III, professional grade size for medium to beginner price. You won't phase out of this camera for a long time. With a full frame sensor of 42.4 megapixels with S-Log3 capabilities, sometimes buying true beginner cameras is just a waste of money because you'll just have to upgrade in a couple months, so that's why I always recommend the Sony a7R III. Site to find lenses for cheaper. Let me be real with you. You chose a very expensive craft if you're on my channel. Lenses are not cheap, but you do not need flagship glass to really start out. Tamron and Sigma make lenses at the same focal lengths that perform well for way less money. I have shot on the Tamron 70-180 and it basically is the White Mamba without the White Mamba price. However, I always prefer shooting Sony glass, but if you are just starting out or are in a pinch, second-party lenses are pretty decent. Are you going to get a second camera to limit time of switching lenses? Yeah, I need one badly. I am basically waiting on Sony to drop the next A1 or A9 Mark IV, which could still be a year or two out. When are you making presets, bro? Bro, soon, I promise. I already have a few made. I'm just stress testing them, making sure they are perfect. I refuse to sell something that only works sometimes. I want it to work every time. So I have been running them through nonstop real scenarios until I know that they are completely bulletproof. And there you have it, all your sports creative questions answered. I cannot thank you enough for being part of this journey with me. Hitting 10,000 subscribers in just a little over a year is absolutely absurd. This channel is only possible because of you, so for that reason, soon we are leveling up with mentorship opportunities, merchandise, and digital assets built specifically for this community. So if you want to be a part of what's coming next, make sure you are subscribed right here on YouTube and follow me on Instagram for all the updates. Until next time.